I'm sorry. There's just something so satisfying about that. Pensacola Christian College.
Oh, God damn it!
What? You don't like that transition?
Rhino,
What?
that's the school I grew up from. I grew up in Pensacola Christian Academy, which is literally right adjacent to the PCC college. I went to that college campus every single summer because they have a section of the college campus that's dedicated to recreation, where you can go in the middle of summer if you are a student at Pensacola Christian Academy, and it's basically daycare with bowling and golf. You just slapped me in the face with a childhood.
God damn it. He said you should start getting cucumbers as stream props. I meant to pull this out during the last story. I forgot that I had it. My little
Why do you have it? Why do you have an eggplant?
Because I have an eggplant. Why wouldn't I have an egg? It's a squishy eggplant.
I don't want to know about your squishy eggplant. We've already touched butts.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's just something so satisfying about that. This was a gift from my girlfriend, by the way, who got it for me like a month into our dating relationship. She was like, "You need to." She got this for me and was like, "This is something that I want you to have on your desk while you stream because I know you will pick it up and do stuff with it." And she was not wrong.
Look, the last prop that I got for doing things on stream was my hammer, and the last thing I did with my hammer was threaten Nova, to be fair. But we don't talk about that. Just on stream.
Okay, anyway, back to the Pensacola Christian College.
I don't want to go back to Pensacola Christian College. I don't want to go back.
I'm sorry.
They had a puppet that read us Bible verses, Rhino. They had a
Oh my god.
puppet.
Oh, was that what's his face? Tammy Faye's husband. Was that Jim Baker?
I don't think it was Jim Baker. I'm not 100% certain because it's these things I remember from my childhood. But I remember at Pensacola Christian Academy, we would go to the auditorium maybe once or twice a month, and there would be a performance from him enacting Bible stories or just making jokes about the Bible.
It was Jim Baker. Jim Baker and Tammy Faye. They got their start doing Christian puppet shows all across the country. So it was like, was that them?
It would have had to have been because he would. It was always a big event when he would visit Pensacola Christian College, and it was usually, what was it? This is my memory being very, very vague, but the way that the summer camp for Pensacola Christian College is set up is there's this big like civic center almost. In the middle of it's a giant ice skating rink, and then everything around it is like a recreation center, a mini golf course, a bowling alley, like just every kind of random entertainment thing you can think of just around a giant ice skating rink. And what would happen is like later in the day when a lot of the lights would start going off because they're not functioning as a recreation center anymore, they're trying to get kids to leave. He would come and we would all sit down in rows and just no auditorium or anything like when I was at Pensacola Christian Academy. We just kind of sit down and just listen to him do his shtick for an hour instead of doing one of the other actually fun activities that we wanted to do. Like, I wanted to go bowling. Why am I sitting down listening to you?
Yeah, I doubt it was them. Apparently their puppet show ran from 1964 to 1973, so probably a bit before your time.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have been them. I don't remember who it was, but I remember it was the same person across both campuses each time. Same puppet, and he only had one puppet.
Yeah, okay. So basically this group was scheduled to sing at Pensacola Christian College, and 2 hours before the concert was to begin on Saturday, they were informed that it was being canceled because of concerns about what it called the lifestyle of a singer who was gay.
Yeah, that tracks.
So
that tracks.
Hosting the group would run counter to the college's Baptist values, because, you know, they don't value the things that Jesus actually said, like love your neighbor and all that.
No,
jazz.
they're IFB.
Yeah.
They're old IFB. They value that.
That's the thing. Like I will be the first to tell you that Jesus said some bad shit, and there was a lot of his teachings that are very easy to take as like do violence in my name and stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
I'm not going to go around saying Jesus was, you know, a good moral teacher or whatever, but I will say, having read the Gospels, it is way easier to come out with a picture of Jesus as being a hippie communist than it is to come out with the Jesus that the modern evangelicals worship.
Yep.
So like
I am all too familiar with that. Like Pensacola Christian Academy, because the college and the academy it's ran by the same people. It's ran by the same people both the way through.
Monorail 425 says Jim Baker came everywhere. I assume that's referring to doing the puppet shows everywhere, all across. That's the only way that could make sense, right?
Jassaproxy in my chat said Jim Baker would come in front of children, which is
that's probably true in both senses of the word, because that's how those things happen.
Yep.
Anyway,
so all of the Pensacola Christian ABECA, that whole conglomerate, because the ABECA literature is all published there too. So Prophet of Zod got to have his fun bit of that himself, unfortunately. But there was always a handful of things that would always be banned. You could not talk about them on campus. You could not even hint that you did them. One of which obviously was being gay. When I was there, one of them was having a MySpace account.
What? Really?
You couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! You couldn't play Pokemon. You couldn't watch Harry Potter. I actually got a note put on the back of my back when I was in the first grade. And it was my teacher, Miss Williams, who put it there. And the note basically read, it was a thing for my mom to pick up whenever I got, home. And the note basically read, if your child continues to play Pokemon, they will burn in hell. And which is weird because we were taught in class that once saved, always saved. Like that was the thing we were taught in school. So like we would get things that were incongruent with the beliefs of the academy.
Well, that's the thing is if you're doing things that have you end up burning in hell, then that means you were never really saved in the first place. Because like I've heard the once saved, always saved thing, and I've thought about like occasionally making reference to that. Well, like I was saved before, so now it doesn't matter that I'm an atheist. I'm once saved, always saved, so I'm going to heaven. But that's not how they look at it. They would look at it as, no, I wasn't really saved. I just thought I was, or whatever, which that's a weird distinction to make, but
yeah, no, so when I see stuff like this article, and I'm sorry that like I'm basically gushing about my history with this fucking company, because that's what it is. It's a private school.
I didn't know that you had personal ties to this.
No, this is my childhood, Rhino. These people are the reason that when I got to public school, I had mental breakdowns because the rules at Pensacola Christian Academy were not just so restrictive that you could not speak about things like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And being gay and stuff like that, but you also had rules against speaking at all. If you were out at PE, don't talk. If you were at lunch with people, don't talk. If you want to talk, there's a talk time at the last couple minutes of lunch, and that's your time to talk. But if you talk before that, go straight to detention. Small wonder I went to detention a lot at PCA, and then when I went to public school, it suddenly stopped. It wasn't going to detention anymore. It's weird. But because they made sure that people were not able to interact with one another because they did so much to make sure they couldn't talk with one another. By the time I got to public school, I did not know how to talk with people. I had never been in a group assignment before. I didn't know what that was. So when I got to public school and I started having to do group assignments with other kids and I started having to talk with people, I actually had breakdowns in class because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to talk to people because I had been told not to for so long.
Yeah.
So none of this surprises me because this is all trauma.
So John73 John says, so you can be retroactively unsaved by bad behavior? No, it's that if you do a behavior that shows that you are not currently saved, then that means you never were saved in the first place. You were just pretending to be saved. Because once you are saved, the Holy Spirit will make sure that that behavior stops. I don't know.
Yeah,
It doesn't actually make sense. I'm trying to give it a fair shake, but it doesn't actually make sense. So
it's a position that assumes mind reading.
yeah.
That's what it is. It assumes that you can read somebody's mind.
So the Nova Saver says, so basically once saved, always saved leads to Christians just accusing ex-Christians of lying. It's like, yeah. And like, even if you don't believe once saved, always saved, they still will accuse ex-Christians of lying, or not lying. Like, sometimes they will say that like, oh, you could have honestly believed that you were saved, but you weren't. Because if you actually had a relationship with Jesus, then how could you possibly become an atheist later? And it's like, I can see that point where it's like, if Jesus actually did exist and I actually did have a relationship with him, it'd be very like, you think of someone in your life. Like I couldn't just like one day decide that I don't believe in my children anymore. And they like, don't think that they exist because I have a relationship with them. I see them. That's different, different type of non-belief, I think.
Okay,
but
that doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. But my point is that these are people that I see every day, so I can't just like stop believing that they exist. But the difference is that people who think they have a relationship with Jesus, it's not the same. They don't have a person that they are in the same room with and actually like speak to face to face. It's all in your head. And the thing about being all in your head is that and I'm not saying this to say like, oh, if you think you have a relationship with Jesus, you're crazy. That's not what I'm saying here. But we do have neurological, naturalistic explanations for how those feelings of having a relationship with someone that doesn't actually exist can come about.
I mean, the entire like it's not an attempt to sound dismissive when you bring up something, or when I say the mechanics behind an invisible friend. I'm not trying to be dismissive of anybody's particular beliefs when I'm saying that. What I'm saying is there are people who legitimately believe that there is a person that cares about them and talks with them and gives feedback on their life events who is not there. And it happens, and it's not even a mental illness thing. It's not even going down that route. It's just a phenomenon we see a lot, especially in children. It's a common one.
Yeah. All right. So I don't really want to spend too much time on this story. Just basically, they were expecting a 5,000 person audience, and 2 hours before the concert, they canceled them because 2 of the members are gay. They only cited 1 member being gay in the reasons why they canceled. But like, they canceled a concert of 5,000 people because someone was gay.
You are infected with a little gay.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to skip the last story, unless it was the title of the video. Was it the title of the video? What did I title this one?
I don't know. I can only
who will
see
cancel the cancelers. Okay, this is the one for who will cancel the cancelers. So we're good. I'm just gonna skip the last story. Mormon Church hid a bunch of money, and they only got fined $5 million for hiding like $32 billion, which is ridiculous. But like, that's basically the whole story. So I'm just gonna skip that, and we can get to the tweets because we're running late, and I got a basement to clean.
Oh dear.